My brain's splitting off in so many different directions. My brain's splitting off in so many different. My brain's splitting off in so many different directions that no one has the answers to. So many different. My dad was a shrink. Certain things upset me. And my dad was a shrink. Certain things upset me. And my dad was a shrink. Things upset me. What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? Questions that no one has the answers to.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast that's all about the X-Men, your favorite X-Men comics, including X-Statix. We are in the middle of the Back from the Dead arc, part 4, where they have resurrected not Princess Di, Henrietta something or another. And now she's leading the team, Gary. They're trying to get her killed, so they put her in charge of the X-Statix.
Yep. And now the team is trying to stop the Beltway sniper, basically, the random killings.
Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington. She was originally Princess Di, then she was Denzel Washington. Now she's Henrietta Hunter.
It's been a real weird time in this comic book.
This cover is real fun.
Yeah. Her with the dartboard and all the characters kind of darted up on the board.
Yeah, like this is if I were going to have one of the covers, like this isn't quite as pin-up-y as some of the other things, and it features a character I don't have that much affection for in terms of Henrietta Hunter, but I think the dartboard image is really fun. Yeah, very retro.
Into it.
And last appearance of El Guapo's legs.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. 0 people found this interesting.
Yes.
It's so mean.
It's weird. I noticed they kept his legs on the cover.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on. We're going to start out in the middle of a bowling alley with 3 good friends trying to leave the bowling alley as quickly as possible because they might get sniped. When they turn on the car, it explodes, and our killer that has been rampaging across America, killing people at random, has switched tactics. They are using car bombs and explosives. They're causing mass panics by releasing stink bombs into subways, causing people to get stampeded. I guess that would be a verb. And everyone is asking the same question, which is, where are the heroes?
Yeah, and it's not just it's implied, and we eventually find out directly that's not just one killer. You know, basically that seminar we saw was teaching people to do this. We cut over to where our heroes are, and they're wearing those new costumes. Or a version of these new costumes created by Henrietta and friends. And they all look like aliens. They look like they're dressed up as like Star Trek.
Yep.
You know, people. They all got different haircuts. It's horrible. These are horrible costumes.
It's all very bad.
Everyone is in.
I think Tyke gets the award for the worst one, though, just by nature of having
suspenders.
like the suspenders and like an overall situation. Although
what they do to his hair as well.
Yeah, dude.
It's like they tussled it.
Yeah, what's happening to Dead Girl's hair? Like she's got one, like she's got the man bun, but she's neither of those things. Like, what are you doing?
She's got an antenna.
It's not good.
Yeah. Wow. There's a little joke here. You know, they talk about how the replicas of these costumes are available in all sizes: baby, kiddie, teen, adult, and underactive thyroid. And then a warm round of applause for El Guapo and Jesus Diaz, showing that amputees don't have to miss out on the fun. The honorary, 7th X-Statix, who died from got his legs blown off in a landmine, and El Guapo. And he looks really upset, understandably.
Sure.
But could reasonably still be in the team. Like, he flies around on a skateboard.
Yeah. I mean, he's still got powers, unlike a lot of people. Yeah. So they're questioning the reporters outside are questioning Henrietta about like the timing of this. Like, we have multiple killers on the loose in America. Now you're just releasing new clothing line. And she's like, no, we have to do this because if we stop doing what we would normally have done, that means the terrorists have won. Which again, big 9/11 vibes. Like having lived through that as a relative adult, it's like remembering all of the weird shit that happened after 9/11 just feels like remembering like a lucid dream or something nowadays.
Yeah, I have no explanation for that wildness. Like just if we don't keep the wheels of capitalism moving, the terrorists have won. Just really, really ridiculous. And that's where like freedom fries came from
Oh yeah, dude.
and stuff. It was a real bonkers time in America.
I'm
It's
gonna
not
put a
good.
boot up your ass.
It's
That fucking
just
country
like-
song. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't really know how to react to it. Not that we learned.
We learned absolutely nothing from it. Absolutely.
Yeah, we learned Jack and Dick from that. Like there's we are not better than we were then. It was just sillier then, in terms of response.
Do you remember
You know, they-
thinking
they-
like
this-
where everybody got the flags from and like who was selling it and like where the money was going to? Like I was prime, like, and I was 21. Well, I guess I was 20 at the time, but like I was prime, like where we follow the money kind of,
Yeah.
conspiracy theory guy, but like who was selling all the fucking flags? Why did everybody have them at the same time all of a sudden? It was really fucking weird. Just everybody had
People are
them.
going to capitalize on that shit. It's like the same, it's slightly more ethical than the people who are selling Osama bin Laden toilet paper.
Yeah.
At the time, like this was a time where you'd like go on the internet and you would see banner ads for like shooting targets that had just generic Arabs on them.
Yep.
As a result of this, like it was a collective mania. We lost our minds over that.
Dude.
And then, obviously this is not a new point, but then, we can do this horrible, shitty response to COVID and lose multiple 9/11s a day.
And
nobody
nobody
gives a shit.
cares.
Yeah. Cause there's nobody to blame. Like, it's not good.
Yeah.
Um,
There's no dark skinned Disney villain that we can point to that says
Yeah.
this is their fault. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, they snap a picture of Henrietta and it goes to the cover of Time, which is a nice thing, except they're asking, is it more than she can chew? So she's already in the crosshairs of just being the face of this, of not saving American lives. So she's starting to get the blowback.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We cut over to a hospital in Europa where we had Reggie and the other guy whose name I forget, the two old guys who engineered the assassination of Henrietta in the first place, who work for the Europa government, aka the British government, aka the Crown.
For British eyes only.
The one guy, again, or Reggie, who's dying, is making the other guy a promise. He's like, do you remember my secret place? There's a little like, how could I forget wink, implication that he's talking about his, prostate or something.
Okay.
And then, he says, no, I mean, the secret compartment office, there'll be documents that'll destroy that awful American upstart. You mean George W. Bush? No, Spike Freeman. And, he sold chemicals to Saddam Hussein, release those documents and destroy X-Statix.
This is big. Like it was at this point I was just thinking like, this is very much like Arrested Development. Like we're getting a lot of the same kind of beats with the Saddam Hussein stuff and
Solid as I Rock.
Yeah, exactly. Just very funny to me. So meanwhile, there's another killer there though, overhearing all of this, and as the one non-sick dude leaves to presumably go get the documents, this killer with the hat turned backwards threatens to kill this dude if he doesn't tell him where the papers are, and then he just absolutely kills him and smothers him with the pillow.
Nope. We cut over to Henrietta and her plan for finding the random sniper, which is to look around randomly. Just teleport to places.
Again, the reaction image of when she says that, and everybody just like looks at one another with the little two, like, what? Are you fucking serious?
Like it's very The Office.
Yeah, exactly.
Like just like, and there's this, vivisector like, I'm gonna let you in on a secret. There are 51 states, dozens of cities, several million miles, and 300 million people. She says, you're right. We need a system. And her system is to throw a dartboard at a map of the United States, which is just really ridiculous. But there's a great little bit of comedy here. Where she's like, well, maybe this will work because I came back from the dead. I have contacts over there. Maybe the spirit world will guide me. The rest of the team kind of freaks out about this. And they're like, hey, dead girl, you're on it. And we have her looking to her dart saying, spirits of the other side, I am your sister and I command you, guide my hand towards the random killers. And then dead girl saying, spirits of the other side, I am dead girl. I command you to keep your deceased spirit butts out of this. You dig? Very, very funny. Like very cute.
Yeah, extremely funny. Meanwhile, we go to a news report just showing that more people are dying. and they're just all these random killers. They don't know who they are. Is it, Al Qaeda? Is it communist? Is it an urban militia sect? There's a really good line where Dead Girl says black separatist, and Fat responds with white separatist, which I think is very funny.
Yeah, white supremacist, black separatist, and then Vivisector. That's a problem with the melting pot. There are so many people who might hate you. Fun. And again, just I love this book where like whenever there's something going on, the way that we see it going on is through our heroes, like watching TV. Watching it too. I love these like TV cuts. That reporter tries to have an interview with Henrietta, and she's really unpopular. People are booing and throwing banana peels at her and stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, trying to fight them, but they won't fight fair.
If only they would just come out and fight fair. It's very funny.
Yeah. This is, hurting her popularity, which they want. Tyke's like, let's just pray that the killers don't stop. Don't quote me on that. Wink. So this is all going according to plan. We cut over to kind of a weird scene where Lacuna is talking to Guy and saying like, hey, it's almost like you planned this, and then reveals her love for him. I don't think that they laid track for this.
Yeah, this kind of feels like out of nowhere for me. Like, I know she was obsessed with X-Statix, and like she was kind of into she was kind of like Tyke there for a bit, but she was also impressed by Guy. But like all of this just feels exactly how she thinks of what he thinks about her, which is like this is some just flight of fancy for her. Like this is just an infatuation more than anything. But she insists that it's true love to the point like she's pressing herself on him, and he like kind of throws her off of himself and onto a glass coffee table where she's like wounded. She's like actively bleeding, and she uses her powers to disappear after that, because like what are you going to do at that point? She's also like, go ahead.
I'm bleeding. You assaulted me. And he tries to apologize. It was an accident, but she, doesn't let him off the hook, and she disappears.
They're being pretty conspicuous with the drink in her hand too. So like, I wonder if we're supposed to assume that she's like a little drunk, but they're not doing like slurred words or anything at the same time. So I'm not sure. Like when she falls into the glass, like she's holding her drink up, like she's fucking the dude, right? Like,
yeah. This just has to give her motivation for what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how much of this was like, this could have been a totally different scene if they didn't have to write the entire plot.
Yeah.
So this feels like it is here to give her plausible doubt, in terms of whether she should expose the team. And it feels very mechanical. Like every once in a while, like reading a book and you're like, oh, this has to happen for the plot. That's why it's happening. Like it doesn't feel organic. It's just moving the pieces into place. Because, as she leaves, the old British guy gives her the folder.
Yeah.
Like this has everything that will take down X-Statix and Spike Freeman. At this point. So use this on your show. And now she has motivation because she's jilted.
Yep. Yeah. We go to back to a news report where Mr. Code.
She's busy. Like it's always the same news report.
She's killing it, dude.
She's like working 48 hours a day.
Look, that's the world we live in. This is a 24-hour news network. We need to keep going.
Yeah. And she's got the mutant power to cover all of the news.
Yeah. And Mr. Code has revealed himself. And is basically doing the Fight Club thing of like, you're all just living miserable lives that trade off between your desires and your fears, and our forefathers lived with death and they carved out America in danger, but you've grown fat and complacent. And we, switched to a stereotypical American, like mom and pop where the dad is like, I don't get it. He's like, he's got a point.
He's wearing sock garters, basically saying we're going to change America. This is just QAnon red pill horseshit.
Yep.
This idea, like this is, I was kind of surprised by how much this resonated with like modern times.
Mm-hmm.
Like this isn't that different than like Baked Alaska or fucking Jordan Peterson or some shit.
Yeah, it's the same kind of stuff.
Just telling people to rise up, like same kind of shit.
Which is terrifying, very frankly. Like it's just it's weird that you were able to that they were able to pitch this and like have it like just probably be this is some crazy thing that could possibly happen, and then it actually like came true. Like that's terrifying.
Yeah, it became a real thing, and then there was an armed insurrection on the Capitol because internet yahoos told people to do it. And also a president. We go back to that assassin, the backwards hat assassin, who's like, hey, the information was already passed on, talking to Spike Freeman. So he was hired by him. I'm sorry about that. And he goes, it's okay. I've got forward planning. And he calls up Mr. Code. He calls his house. I love his kids are just playing, and they're like, "Daddy, phone," and he's always wearing the mask.
Yeah.
Like he's just, he's like, "Hey, it's Spike, your old business partner. I need a favor. You need to kill Lacuna," basically. So Spike knows the random killers. He knows who they are. He knows, what they're doing, and he was like part of their whole deal.
Yeah.
Like he was in the conventions or whatever, seminars.
And let's not forget, he also sold chemical weapons to Saddam Hussein. That's also kind of a bad thing that he did there.
Yes. Needs to not get that file out.
Yeah, no doubt. We go to Guy and Lacuna, who are meeting on neutral ground, which is a pier where she calls them a pig and a liar, but also tells them about the file, and it's everything. Like the whole team is implicated, and she's kind of like saying that she's in love with him, and he's pushing her back, but also saying like, "Hey, we need those documents. Like, what do I need to do to get those documents at the same time?"
Yeah. And she says, if they're with my lawyer, if anything happens to me, they'll be released to the authorities. And he's like, "Well, we'll release them. Like, we don't like Spike Freeman." And she goes, "No, it's more complicated than that. If they're made public, they don't just implicate Spike. He won't be the only one who's destroyed." And we do one of the like great panel cuts that they do all the time in this book, where it's Spike confronting, or rather Guy confronting Spike about how Edie was also implicated.
And
to sell chemical weapons to Saddam Hussein,
and also finding out that like it not just her, like there's also Tyke, and like they all live this lifestyle, and they're like, yeah, like we just wanted money, like we all thought it was just money. We didn't, maybe we didn't realize what's going on. The contract had small print or whatever, but basically it was just, hey, we didn't really care as long as the money kept coming in. Yep.
Yeah, Dupe needs medical treatments to survive. Like everybody needs all this stuff. Like you can't be holier than thou. We're all, I made sure you'd all go down with me.
Mm-hmm.
Guy's like, well, maybe I can persuade her to hand over the documents. And, Spike makes a mistake here. He's like, well, that won't be necessary. Let's just say these random killings are going down. No one is safe, implying what he's going to do. And this makes Guy see red. And he kicks his neck twisted. He breaks his neck with a kick.
He like
a bath,
spins it all the way around, right? Like because when the guy lands, like his head is facing the right direction, but his whole neck has been twisted. Like he does a full 360-degree kill shot here, which is kind of impressive. Like
360 no boot, like no soul. Just kicks his head off, like basically just furious about what's going to happen to Lacuna. And Guy, who has always had like a little bit of a hero in him, is running out to try to save her. This is a very sad scene where the sniper is presented here waiting for Lacuna. She's gone for a walk. Guy tracks her down, and in Lacuna's thought bubble, she's like, I knew it. I knew he felt the same way as me. And she gets shot right before he can stop her.
Yep. Right in front of him. So. And right as she believes that he's like confessing his love, and that's it. And man, like, that's kind of two major character deaths, like pages from one another. Like this is getting kind of crazy. Well,
we got two more coming as well.
I know. We're busy this week.
They're clearing the decks because again, I think at this point, because of that foreshadowing about scattering her body to all the four corners of the earth, they knew what they were going to do for the last arc of this, and the last arc doesn't work with like you need to have like the cast a slightly smaller size to do the X-Statix versus Avengers arc that they're going to do.
So, I'm into it though. Like this all feels like really fun and fast, and like I'm into it. Like I just want to read more and more and more every time I pick up this book.
Yeah, I like that characters in this book tend to die when they've served their purpose. The plot, like there wasn't like a lot still left for Lacuna to do. Like they've done this plot of her exposing the team's desire to kill one of their own members already. Like that happened with Arnie. They couldn't just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like over and over. And her powers are so close to omniscience that or omnipotence, that she's kind of a liability to have around for future stories. It just kind of feels like she's completed her arc.
It's one of those like, well, like if Lacuna was around, why wasn't Lacuna doing X, Y, or Z? Right? Like, yeah, because she should be able to take care of this or whatever.
You watch the Nick Fury movie from the 90s, and it's like, call the fucking Avengers. Like,
yeah, why are you doing any of this?
You have a Thor on staff. You don't need to do this. You have a Thor.
I saw a video of, this has got to be old, but of the Avengers cast trying to pronounce the name of Thor's hammer, and they're all butchering it. They're going through everybody, and it gets to Paul Rudd, and he says Jonathan. It's just, it's just really funny. It will forever be Jonathan for me from now on. So
that's great. My hammer, Jonathan.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate you.
We do. Thank you very much. If you like this podcast, you can leave us ratings and reviews. You can support us directly by going to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. You could tell your friends. That's probably the most helpful thing that you can do. If you know anybody that's vaguely into X-Men books, that likes our sense of humor, I guess is what you would call it, you could tell them about the podcast. Get them to download it on their phone in front of you. Make them do it, or else they'll just say, sure, I'll get to that later. And they're definitely not going to do it, because who has time to do anything? So make sure they download it directly in front of you. Those are my orders from.
Yes, those are Jeremy's orders, and they cannot be disobeyed.
It's true.
If you disobey Jeremy, permanent good night.
Oh no, I don't want to kill anybody.
No, you just put him to sleep forever. Doesn't have to be. It's good night, not death.
Just put him to sleep, a permanent sleep forever. Yeah,
yeah, $1 million baby him.
I don't get that reference. I've never seen the movie.
It's a boxing coach. Mercy kills his Padawan when she gets paralyzed because she can't box anymore.
So when I said I've never seen it, you said, "Oh, he must be interested in it because he's waited this long for me to tell him about it." This is what's going to. That was the thing.
Yep. That's exactly it.
Well, if I can just convince him.
What? I don't think you should watch it. It's a cultural reference. It's like if you say Sophie's Choice, you gotta know what that's talking about.
But yet,
$1 million baby situation, Sophie's Choice situation. But
yet, boxing Helena is not just a permanent fixture of our vocabulary. It's just fucking robbed.
Shaking my damn head. I went to a bento place, and you can actually just get this a la carte. It's kind of like a boxing Helena situation with the teriyaki. See?
I'm with it. I'm with it.
It works.
Just cut off all the other parts that we don't need.
Bento boxing Helena.